What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having an absolutely fantastic day. I know I am, and if you are having a fantastic day, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. You'll get 90 years of bad luck. Yeah, that's right. You're gonna get so many years of bad luck that the next time we're all on quarantine, your bad luck will still be rolling, so press the like button. Real talk though, guys, this is kind of a more recent story time. This is about a month ago now, and since we're just chilling in quarantine, sitting back, thinking about how our life has changed, I figured that you guys would be very entertained about how, my friend got scammed for thousands of dollars by a psychic. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Every now and then, a man out there gets desperate and thinks that he needs somebody to tell him the future and, pawns his Xbox to pay for it. Regardless, though, I get involved and end up, yelling at a fake psychic, so it should be a pretty entertaining story for you guys. I really don't think I've told a story about anything like this before. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. Anyways, this story starts kind of sad. One of my best childhood friends' grandma passed away, and they were very close, and obviously this had like a super serious impact on him. He kind of wanted to be left alone for a bit, and so everybody in the friend group decided to give him space. But like a week after his grandma passed away, we still hadn't heard from him. I'd reached out to him a couple times, so I went over to his house to check on him, make sure he was all good, make sure, you know, that like everything was fine. So I go over to his apartment and I knock on the door and he opens it. He goes, "Oh, hey Ryan, I was just leaving." And he seems like pretty normal. And I go, "Oh yeah, where are you going?" He's like, "Yeah, I found this psychic that's helping me talk to my grandma." And I'm like, what do you mean, dude?" He's like, "Yeah, I found this psychic on Craigslist and I went over to his house and he knew my grandma's name and like said our favorite memories together. It was crazy. I really think you can talk to my grandma. So I'm taking my Xbox to the pawn shop to sell it because it's really expensive to get him to help me talk to my grandma." And obviously my friend, who's very clearly not emotionally stable right now, selling all of his like favorite possessions in order to pay for a psychic that's letting him talk to his grandma that passed away, makes me curious. So I ask him because I don't really believe in like supernatural stuff. I don't believe in ghosts personally. I don't believe in psychics personally. If you do, whatever floats your boat, man. But I ask him, I'm like, "Okay, well, what did the psychic tell you that made you think that you're really talking to your grandma?" You know, because whenever I watch like these medium shows or these psychic shows, one thing that I notice is they just say the most vague stuff at any given time, and like everyone's just, "Oh my god, it has to be my grandma." You want to hear a crazy fact? I think like 50% of women born in the boomer era were named Mary. It's not impressive that he could guess that your grandma's name was Mary, Mark. He just made an educated guess. But regardless, I asked my friend, I'm like, "Okay, well, what did he say that made you believe that you were talking to you?" Because, I mean, I get it. Whatever you got to do to cope with losing somebody, I get it. Don't get me wrong. But if you're selling your Xbox to pay a dude to let you speak to your passed away grandma, you might as well make sure that it's, like, legit first. And he tells me basically what I just said. His grandma's name was Mary, and the guy knew that. And, you know, I explained to him, "Hey, dude, you know, that's a really common name for older women. Are you sure you didn't guess?" And then he says something that makes me realize that this dude is just desperate for, like, any connection to his grandma. And I feel bad because he's definitely getting scammed by this. He says, "Yes, not to mention the psychic said very specific memories that me and my grandma used to do." And I'm like, "Oh, like what?" You know, let's see, maybe he's like, "You know when you guys would drive her 2004 Toyota Corolla with the top down the freeway?" Like a very specific memory only somebody who knows your grandma would be able to do. My friend looks me in the eyes and says, "Yeah," he said, "you and your grandma used to bake cookies together, right?" And I'm like, "Dog, I'm pretty sure every grandma bakes cookies for their grandkids. That's like the most vague thing to say that you and your grandma used to do." And he's like, "Yeah, well then, how did this psychic know that I used to spend the weekend with my grandma when my parents weren't in town?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because most people whose grandparents live in town have these experiences." I'm like, "Dog, it's not very impressive to guess that your grandma and you would do grandma stuff together." So I'm not trying to argue with my friend because he's very clearly getting manipulated by this dude who is a psychic. So I just ask a very simple question. I say, "All right, well, can I go with you? You know, if you're going to him right now, can I go with you? Just to make sure you're safe, and like, if anything seems shady, I'll let you know." And my friend's like, "Yes, of course, you'll see he's legit, and that way you won't mind. Can we go to the pawn store and sell my Xbox?" And I'm like, "No, we're not gonna sell your Xbox. How much is it?" And he looks at me and he goes, "Oh, it's $500 every time." And I'm like, "Well, how many times have you gone in the last week?" And he looks at me and says, 4. My friend had spent $2,000 talking to this dude who definitely is not a real psychic. I don't know if psychics are real, but all I'm saying is when I ended up seeing this psychic dude, I did not get a Raven Simone vibe. There was no That's So Raven psychic abilities going on, because we finally get to this psychic's office and it's like in an apartment building. It's not even its own office. And if you're a real psychic, if you can actually tell the future, I'm just saying you should be pretty damn bougie. Like, you can tell when the economy's about to crash because you can literally see the future, but you're running your psychic business out of your apartment. I'm just saying, it doesn't add up that well. So I walk into this dude's apartment and I immediately am kind of like, all right, this is not what I expected from somebody that can definitely see the future, but whatever. We had stopped at the ATM so I could get my friend money to pay this psychic, which I didn't want to do, but like, listen, I can't let my friend ruin his life talking to this very clearly fake psychic. I had to do something to help the boy out. Like, if you're my friend, look, money's replaceable, but you know, your life being ruined by a fake psychic that's convincing you that your grandma wants you to sell your Xbox to pay him, I'm just not really vibing with it. So we walk in and he introduces me to like this psychic dude, and I want to clarify what the psychic dude looks like. When you think of a psychic, you probably think of like some Romanian woman, you know, with a crystal on her forehead, and she's like, I can tell the future. No, this is a white fat dude with a bath towel wrapped around his head. You know how most psychics in movies have like a silk scarf wrapped around their head to make them look all futuristic? Why do they wear a scarf around their head? But you get what I'm saying. I guess this dude had realized that most people who can tell the future either have like a turban on, or like the women psychics have a scarf around their head, and instead of going and getting one, he just went to his bathroom and got a bath towel and like wrapped it around his head. So I'm like, dog, how is my friend this stupid to think that this is a psychic? This is a grown fat man with a bath towel around his head telling you that he can see the future. So Chumlee from Pawn Stars apparently is doubled as a psychic now, and he sits down and he starts talking to my friend, and he's like, did you bring the money? So we give him the money. He's like, all right, your grandma wants you to know that she loves you, and da-da-da-da-da. And then he looks at me and he goes, but your grandma passed away too, didn't she? And I realize that here is my chance to make this man look stupid. I guess he figured that since I was here with my friend, who obviously was like buying this because he was traumatized from his grandma passing away, he figured that I definitely like believed it too. And here's the thing. Both my grandmas, very much alive. Very much alive. My grandmas are dope. I love my grandmas. Like, they're awesome. So I realize that I can make him look like an idiot, and hopefully my friend will realize that this dude has no clue what he's talking about. So I pretend to act shocked, and I'm like, oh my god, yes, how did you know that? And he's like, I can tell these things as a psychic. Let me guess. Was one of their names Elizabeth? And he like stops after, you know, just guessing another super generic name. And I look at him and I go, oh my god, how did you know? None of my grandmas are named Elizabeth. I just want to get this dude hyped up to the point where he's like, I knew it, so that I can say, yeah, my grandma's name is not Elizabeth and they're not dead. So we'll take our money back and leave now, because very obviously you are not a psychic. So I'm playing along with Tubby the time traveler here, and he starts like getting super into it. Oh my gosh, your grandma Elizabeth, let me guess, she was French royalty, descended from King Louis, like just starts rattling off a bunch of crap that doesn't even sound real. The only way this would ever sound real is if you had just lost your grandma and you were desperate for it, like my friend was. Like, I'm not saying my friend is an idiot. My friend is a smart guy, but you know, when bad things happen in your life, it's easy to get confused. And I'm looking at this fat dude who is just blatantly paying for this apartment by ripping off vulnerable people by pretending to be their dead relatives. And that's when he says something that I think is like just the worst thing you could say. He says, well, your grandma Elizabeth wants you to come here at least once a week so you can talk to her, okay? He is telling people that their make-believe dead relatives want them to come here and talk to them, so they have to pay him. And my friend looks at me and he's like, wow, isn't it so incredible how he just is able to do that? I'm like, yeah, there's just one problem. And the guy looks at me and he's like, my grandma's name isn't Mary and neither of my grandmas are dead. So I don't know what you're talking about, but it's very clearly not me. And the look on his face is just shocked. And my friend's like, what do you mean? And I said, yeah, dude, I tell him my grandma's names. I like show him on my phone that I was with them like a week ago. And obviously very healthy, not dead. And the psychic dude starts rambling. He's like, well, sometimes I might be picking up somebody else in the apartment, like, the apartment next to us, maybe their grandma's, Emily, you know, or Elizabeth, and he's like forgetting parts of the story he told us, dude. He's just going all over the place. And my friend is kind of realizing finally that this guy is, up to no good. So he starts to get pissed. He's like, are you faking to be a psychic? Are you kidding me, dude? My grandma just died and you're taking advantage of me and like taking all my money from me. And the psychic is getting scared because angry people probably have a good reason to beat you up when you've been pretending to be their dead grandma to steal money from them, basically. My friend is like, give me my money back right now. And the psychic, oh, well, you've already paid for the service. Like, give me my money back. So the psychic disappears, comes back out with like my friend's money and then some. So obviously this dude's hustle is pretty much find vulnerable people who just lost a relative and then fleece them for what they're worth. So we get the money back and my friend gets up in his face and he's like, if I ever see another one of your posts on Craigslist, I will come back here. Do you understand? And he's like, yes, you know, I'm sorry, but like, I really am a psychic. We're like, dude, you're very obviously not a psychic. Even through all of this, after we just like made him crap his pants and give us the money back because we caught him lying, he still is trying to pretend that he is a legit psychic. And if you were a psychic, let's say hypothetically Chubby Bunny here was a psychic, did he not see us coming and definitely realize that he was gonna get caught? Like, if you can tell the future and you get surprised, then you're an idiot. You're not a very good fortune teller, are you? I can see the future and talk to ghosts. I can. But I did not see myself being outsmarted by two 20-year-olds coming. Okay, maybe I'm not very good at telling the future. Regardless, me and my friend get his money back. We leave. He gets in the car and, you know, he just starts like crying. He's like, dude, I'm sorry. I'm like, dude, I get it. I mean, obviously I don't get it. My grandmas are alive, but you're going through some stuff. Don't feel bad. I won't tell any of our friends about this, like, at all. He's like, okay, do you promise? Yes, no problem, I got you. Before anyone comments, he told me I could tell this on the channel as long as I didn't say names, and like, I've even changed some stuff around, so he's good. None of my friends are gonna be able to tell who it is, don't worry. But real talk, yeah, my friend got scammed by a fake psychic for $2,000 that was taking advantage of people that had just lost their relatives, so we went to his house. I convinced him to tell a very long story about my dead grandma that doesn't exist, and then we called him out for being fake and to get my friend his money back. Just a typical Tuesday afternoon. On that note, guys, that's gonna do it for the video. Be sure to press the like button, comment down below, and subscribe. Join the Discord server. And today's notification shout out goes to Big King Cole. Holy cow. And yeah, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and check out the Twitch stream at twitch.tv/scrubbyog.